Welcome to Kennedy Enterprises Thor bidding video 2. More advanced features will be illustrated in this video to help better familiarize you with the features of Thor bidding program. First of all, select a calculation, press Thor bidding button, and now we're in the Thor bidding program. You need to select the number of stories, whether or not it has a basement that's going to be wired, and if the basement has concrete walls, the number of bedrooms to be wired, the number of bathrooms. Count a half bathroom as a whole. So if it has 2.5 baths, choose 3. Select whether you have 15 amp AFCI bedroom protection or if you wired it in 20. Most common is 15 amp AFCI bedroom breakers. Also select the number of additional GFCIs to be added to the home. In this case, we have a total GFCIs of 6. So right now we'll choose a 2-story. We're going to wire the basement, and the basement happens to have a concrete wall. Notice that it's already brought in 1,850 square feet, 1 unit, calculates the line amps, neutral amps, and the breaker size is recommended to be 225. With a 225 amp breaker panel, I've put in the price of $279.79. But if you wish to charge more for a 225 amp breaker panel, go ahead and change it right here. Let's say you want to make it $350.95. Simply enter it, update, and now the price will reflect that you'll charge $359.95 for a 225 amp breaker panel. Let's go ahead and select a 250 amp breaker panel, and note that I have put in there $345.15. You may want to change that. Simply select the price and put $499.59 for instance. Update, and now the price reflects that new charge for having a 250 amp breaker panel. Also, we have a location for extra trips. The bid includes per contract language. Again, you can change the contract language. It states you'll have 3 trips for the trim and 3 trips for the rough end. If the customer says that due to circumstances needs extra trips, here you add a fee for extra trips. So let's just say he's asking for 1 extra trip. Assuming that it takes X number of hours, we'll put in $150 for the extra trips. Next, the travel. Assuming that you bid a job that's way out of your location you normally drive to, and the customer really likes your quality of work, you can add money for travel time. You can stipulate a discount. You can say, if these items don't happen, if the extra trips don't happen and travel doesn't happen, then I'll give you a discount of $500, for instance. Okay. And if the customer wishes to add extra panels, you can add extra panels right here. Let's say a sub panel for the garage, for instance. Okay, you can see how all these items can add up. Next, let's go to the permits. Whatever your permit costs in your area, you place it in here. Now notice that you have some highlighted in gray and you have areas that's white. The white spaces allow you to enter prices. The gray areas are informational only and you're not permitted to change those. So let's go to the taxes. Whatever your local tax rate is, let's say your tax rate is 8.59. Okay, hit the update button and now your taxes have been adjusted. And let's say in your county, state, or local area that you're not permitted to charge tax on labor. That's okay. Select this button, click it, and now notice the labor tax has been removed. Or if your area does require you to put tax on labor, click it, and now tax has been added to the labor. Okay, moving on, contract language. We've touched on this on the previous video, but let's go ahead and get more detail. Circuits wired per this contract. Let's see where that comes into play. Let's go ahead and preview a summary only, and then we see circuits wired per this contract is on page 1 of 6, and it's just above all the circuits that's going to be wired in this contract. So you can change it right here. So you've added this, and if you left click on it, you can spell check it, and it recommends a change. So change it, and so the spell checking is complete. Okay, so now if we preview this by going to preview summary, now we'll see it says circuits wired per this contract. This is a change. So go back to the contract language and put it back the way it was. Okay, the next item is owner equipment. The above listed equipment is to be supplied by the builder homeowner unless stated elsewhere in this contract. Okay, let's go see what that looks like. And here we have it down here. The above listed equipment is to be supplied by the builder owner unless stated elsewhere in this contract. And then So that's it right here. Okay, and so let's put the verbiage back, unless stated elsewhere in this contract. So now going to page 2, terms of payment. If we want to view that, we click here and we'll see that says terms of payment on page 2. And then terms of payment are as followed. That's this language here. And again, it can be changed, altered, added to meet your needs. And this is the bottom half of page 2. Scope of work to be done. Let's go ahead and view it again. Scope of work to be done. Note also that you have additional space here. You can add quite a bit more verbiage to the terms of payment. And the same thing with scope of work to be done. You can add a little more to the verbiage there also of the pages, the contract language, the headings, etc. Okay, continue with more advanced features. Note that we have ceiling height of 10 feet on the first floor. And right here we have a cubic feet adjustment. That's a ceiling height adjustment of 5%. So when you update it, we have $5,286. If we return this to an 8-foot ceiling and update it, notice we have $5,100 and no premium adjustment. Let's go ahead and put it back at 10-foot ceilings again and look at the preview. And if we pull it down, we note that here we have high ceilings fee of $134. This fee is to compensate for extra ladder time and additional ladders for reaching higher ceilings. For instance, if we had extravagant home or a very nice home, let's put it, at 20-foot ceilings, look at the preview of the summary again, and now we have $800 for a high ceiling adjustment. That requires scaffolding, etc. to get to those high places. And down here we have a ceiling adjustment multiplier. So it's set at 1.5 and that gave us 30% for 20-foot ceilings. Let's go ahead and change this to 2.0 and update, and notice now the adjustment went to 40%. And looking at the price change, now we have $1,078 for the high ceiling charge. So let's go down to 1 now, 1.1, and update, and notice it went from 30 to 20%. And also look what happened, our high ceiling fee just got cut in half. So this can be whatever you feel comfortable, whatever your profit margins require. I'm starting you off at 1.5, and that gives you $800 for 20-foot ceilings for this square footage of a home. If you were to increase the square footage of the home, for instance, to say 3,000 square feet and update, and the price is now $8,000. This returned our original by exiting and going back in, and it resets it to $1,850. 2-story, basement, concrete, 10-foot ceiling homes. And let's look at the premium now. So high ceilings is now $126. Again, all at your discretion. And note, we also show the travel charge, we show the extra trip charge, and we now show the high ceiling charge. And we show a discount of $500, and now we show the taxes after discount. Continuing, we have the load items that were brought in through the calculation, and these load items here have what's called a watt charge. The watt charge is for handling the additional wiring, the charge for extra heavy wire, boxes, etc. And the watt adjustments right here. I've set the watt charge at 0.5. Let's see what happens when we change it to 1.0 and do an update. See, the watt charge then doubled. If I go ahead and say 2.0 and update, now the watt charge is 4 times. So I've set it at 0.5, and this is the watt charge I've chose to start you off with, and you need to adjust it for your local area and your particular needs. Also, there's a case here, if you wish to, you can remove the watt charge by simply clicking this. Note the watt charge went to 0. You didn't have to set your watt adjustment to 0. You just need to remove the watt charge by clicking this. So when you do a print preview, the watt charge has been removed from your total. Okay, so enabling it again. Continuing, this is based off the NEC code, square footage given, but if you need to add items that's outside of the NEC code, for instance, residential doesn't change the size of breaker based on the number of outlets. So if your customer requires more outlets, this is where you'll put it. So add outlets in bedrooms. And let's say you charge $9.95 per outlet, and your customer wants 10 outlets, 10 point, then you have a total charge of $99.50 for these additional outlet. Again, if your customer wants you to pay for ceiling fans and install them for the customer. Then you can say ceiling fans, and the customer wants one for each bedroom, and you have 3 bedrooms, so you'll charge $95.99 per fan and 3 bedrooms. Additionally, if your customer wanted you to add special lighting, say can lights for the kitchen, and the customer wants special light that costs $59.95 each, and the customer's wanting 9 of them, then that's now added to the total price of the installation, and on and on and on. Again, these things are outside of the NEC code requirements to add to the square footage. These are outside the NEC requirements to add to the panel side. These are simply items that the customer wants that doesn't affect the calculation of the panel side. Again, let's say the customer wants phone jacks and specifies locations. Let's say and I'm going to misspell bedrooms. By right-clicking on this, we can spell check it. And if you're using a Microsoft spell checker, for instance, a Word product that has the spell checker included, then this will pop up and you simply change it and it'll make the change for you here. Okay, and again, phone jacks, you're going to charge the customer whatever price you want, $15.95, and you have 3 bedrooms, so they'll be in 3 bedrooms. And update, this is now your new price for the add-ons. So we can close the add-ons here, and now if we do a print preview, now we show those add-ons of $974 is added to the total price. Okay, let's see here. What else can we do? If you double click in these spaces here, everything within this space will be all upper caps. So it'll be changed from case sensitive to all upper letters by simply double clicking. By right clicking, of course, you'll do the spell check. And if you want to reset it back to the original condition, then you just exit and come back in, and it brings everything back the way it was. So again, you'll have to select how many stories, whether or not it's a basement, and whether it's concrete walls, but all this verbiage stays the same here, and then all the verbiage stays the same here on your add-ons. Moving on, if you need to change your wire pricing, click the wire price button, and note here that 1.000 indicates that square footage of 1850, so you'll have 1850 times a price of 17.5 cents a foot, which will give you $447 for 14.2 NMB wire. The calculation assumes that you'll use 1 foot of 14.2 wire per every square foot of house. If you find that it's a little more or a little less, you change it here. For instance, if you find you need a little bit more wiring, then you change it to 1.1. And then when you update, notice the price change. It went up to match your adjustment here. But if you, on the other hand, if you find that you use less of this wire, then let's say you go 0.9, update, now the price is reflected here. So you just simply need to calculate what percentage of the total square footage of the house times the wire price for the total foot requirement of each of the wires. And down here we have some complementary numbers. We say it's only 10%. For instance, here we have 10%. It's only 1% of the house. So 1% of 1,800 square feet times 6 to NMB at $1.45 a foot will give $37. If you don't use these at all, just make them 0, and they will be zeroed out on the price. And that's how you change the calculation methods. So I'll go ahead and put this back to 1.0, representing 100% of this number. So 1850 times 14.2 NMB at 17.5 cents a foot gives you $447 for the wire. And again, you can change whatever verbiage you want to put in here. If you don't like putting 14.2, you can just put NMB, you can just plain put 14.2. But I chose to put NMB. You can do whatever you like. Once you're done, close the wire prices. Okay, continuing. cover page. This allows you to show the cover page on the printout. When you deselect it, now when you print preview all, it skips the cover page. If you select it, now you get a cover page showing your company logo, the customer, and a brief description of what the work will be done. Okay, this has been a little more advanced instructions on how to use Kennedy Enterprises Thor bidding program. Thank you very much.